patch of dirt you call a patio? Ready to impress the neighbors and your in-laws? Introducing you, the Weekend Warrior. Thanks to Cast-A-Light Tile and Masonry. With easy-to-install outdoor pavers and expert advice, you'll go from I have no idea what I'm doing to check out my backyard oasis in no time. They'll teach you how to do it right without the head-scratching or YouTube rabbit holes. Cast-A-Light. Go where the pros go. And now, where you go too.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. So that makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And good morning. Welcome to the show. 8:06 now on this Saturday morning. Will Feel Right along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden to join you for the Garden Guide here on this beautiful Saturday morning. I almost think we may want to change the bumper music, though, Mark, for this week. We'll go with maybe a little Glenn Fry, The Heat Is On, because it is definitely going to be coming.
It's going to be warmer, but
yeah,
I would be very surprised if we still didn't get a frost towards Memorial Day.
It could happen. We were looking at the moon rotation, and we could see, I think that last full moon is going to be the last couple of days of May.
So. And that's usually when we get it. And so even though we've got really amazing weather for the next week or 10 days, still plan on protecting plants just in case. We've got a lot of people getting tomatoes and peppers and squashes and melons, and they are pretty darn excited about getting outside and planting. And it's just like, okay, weather's great next week, but let's just make sure you have some hot caps, make sure you have some frost cloth, just in case. Yeah. And so I'm working on my garden more. So I finally got my carrots planted, finally got my beets and chard planted, cut my potatoes the other day, so I'm going to get those planted tonight. I like to cut them in advance. So I'll cut the potatoes up so there's at least a couple eyes on each piece, and then I let them sit for a couple days. And what happens is the potatoes, where they're cut, they kind of heal over. They kind of develop this white film,
like a crust.
And it protects the cut, and so that when you plant them, it's less likely to pick up diseases through the soil. So it'll pick up diseases through the soil, and so. I, of course, use sulfur where I plant my potatoes, which is a natural fungicide. But then I also water them with fungicide 5 from Fertilome. It's got that natural bacteria in there that is beneficial for the plants, and it's not detrimental to the plants. Yeah. And it fights other diseases off. And so I'll be planting my potatoes this week, and I'm starting my squashes, melons, cucumbers inside right now, so they'll be ready to transplant out in about 10 days, which should be perfect. At that point, I'll be able to watch the weather and see if we're going to have a little bit of frost. But this week, I'm going to put out a weed barrier where my tomatoes and peppers are going to go, and let it heat the soil up. And if I decide to do sweet potatoes, which I'm thinking about doing some sweet potatoes this year, I'll do the same thing. Okay. I'll prep the soil. I'll till it up and get it loose and light and fluffy, kind of hill it up a little bit because the sweet potatoes like that. And then I'll put weed barrier down. And then with the nice warm temperatures this week, it will really, really heat the soil up. Yeah, really heat the soil up. And then when I transplant those plants out, the soil will be so nice and warm, it won't feel like spring to them anymore, and they'll just take off. Yeah. they'll just take off like crazy. And then the weed barrier really helps retain moisture. So what a lot of people don't realize is that weed barrier reflects a lot of the heat off, but it generates heat in the soil as well too, but it doesn't let the water evaporate off. And so it keeps that moisture underneath a lot longer, so you don't have to water as much.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to water as much. We should definitely talk about watering we had storms early part of the week, and so now we've gone 4 or 5 days without water, and people's yards are probably going to start stressing Monday or Tuesday after a week of no water. Yeah. And so next week we probably should start talking about watering a little bit. But even though we've got a couple warm days, it's going to drop back down into the 70s and 60s is what it looks like. And so we don't need to water as if it were July.
Yeah, definitely not the every day or every other day.
No.
Sometimes people doing.
No. And what we're recommending in Logan City and throughout Cache County is, if you're used to doing 3 waterings through the summer, to cut that back to just 2. And your plants will do just fine. They maybe will stress a little bit in between, but as we retrain them to go a little bit longer between waterings, you actually get a deeper root system. The plants will develop a bigger root system that will go deeper after the water that's down a little bit deeper in the soil, and they'll be able to stretch an extra day or 2 between waterings. And so we're encouraging people to just really kind of take a step back and say, okay, we're still going to water, but let's do 30% less than what we've been watering and see how that works. And so if you're just watering, twice a week instead of 3 times a week, you're cutting 30%. 33.3% exactly.
Yes, exactly.
to be precise. You're cutting that much water out of your landscape, and I think you'll be surprised how well the plants do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you'll be surprised. So this week, maybe one good watering right before the heat kicks in, and then kind of play it by ear and see what happens. But don't just go to like, I'm going to water every day. I'm going to water 3 or 4 times a week. It just doesn't need it.
Okay.
Yeah, it just doesn't need it right now. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about here on the show, and phone lines are open. 753-KVNU, 753-5868. We've got to start off with this weekend being Mother's Day
weekend. Mother's Day weekend. So at Anderson's, we always have the greenhouses like loaded for Mother's Day weekend. So there's flowers, there's hanging baskets. We've got like gorgeous roses in stock right now. And so the store is overflowing with product. And I've had multiple people in this week that have come in and looked at our tree selection, and they're just like, this is the best tree selection I've seen like anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, which is
great.
It makes me feel great. Yeah, it's like we've got just an amazing selection of flowering trees and shade trees and fruit trees and just a little bit of everything. Doesn't matter what you're looking for. We can find something that will fit in that spot. Great selection of shrubs. The roses really do look amazing. They come in from Northern California, so when they arrive, they're all in bloom, and they look awesome. So we're super excited about those. And then load of perennials came this week, so we're just stocked with perennials. Ground covers came this week, tons of ground covers, and we just restocked the greenhouse yesterday with tomatoes and peppers and flowers. Yeah, so it's usually 2 or 3 times a week where we're restocking the greenhouse when the weather's great like this. So if you're looking for something specific, like I had somebody in looking for poblano peppers the other day, and we didn't have any, and I was like, don't worry. It's the world is not coming to an end. It's okay. Wait 2 days, and the next truck will come in, and we'll be stocked back up. And then they came back in yesterday, and it's like boom. Everything that they were looking for was like right there.
Oh, great.
Yeah, right there. So it's not that we are running out of things. It's just we will be temporarily out of some stuff until towards the end of May, when we will start running out of stuff. Yeah, we will start running out of stuff. But it's like I can't keep things in stock all the time because a lot of our growers will only deliver once or twice a week.
Oh, yeah.
And so if we run out on Tuesday, usually by Thursday, I've got another truck or 2 coming in to like restock it. And of course, after the weekend, if you come in first thing on Monday morning,
there's
going to be a lot of stuff that's gone. Yeah, because it's just like we can't restock from Saturday to Monday. And so, Monday's actually a good time to come in and shop and see what's there. And then you come back in on Wednesday, and then it's like completely different product than what we have. So for Mother's Day, we've got some specials on geraniums. We've got some specials on strawberries. I think there's some specials going on asparagus if you want to do some asparagus as well too. I've got great gift items this year. So we've got wind chimes, and we've got hats, gardening hats, and tools and gloves, and everything that moms need to get out in the garden. Beautiful roses, perennials. You could plant a nice outdoor garden for mom. I've always wanted to do a scented garden. I think that would be really fun. If you've got a little secluded spot in your yard, and just do a scented garden that has plants in it that all smell amazing. Really so you can sit out there by your fountain and enjoy the sounds of nature, and then you get all the smells at the same time. Yeah, it's a sensory experience where you're just out there maybe just enjoying the shade, but you get to smell all the great plants, and then the fountain's going. If you haven't seen, you were there for the open house a couple weeks ago. Yeah. But then we had the planting event. After the planting event, we get that west greenhouse all tidied up and nice, because we have to do the planting event in the greenhouse because we're always afraid if the weather's not good, we don't want to do it outside. Yeah, we don't want to do it outside in the parking lot. So we kind of leave that space open a little bit. Well, we've filled it all in now, and so the fountains, it looks awesome. Like it's one of the best displays that we've ever done. So if nothing else, come in, enjoy the smells of spring at Anderson's
and some of the sounds
for Mother's Day, and the sounds of the fountains, and just the visual display. It's really quite gorgeous in the greenhouse. I mean, it's really, really pretty. My wife and her team of helpers, her little special elves, have helped put that all together, and it looks awesome. Like I'm super excited about it. Yeah.
Well, some of the coworkers here at the Radio Ranch were giving me a hard time this week because last week the roses came in.
Yeah, right.
And so my daughter and I came over last Saturday to grab a rose bush for my wife for Mother's Day. But I thought, okay, I've got a whole week. What do I do with it? Plus, I had a business commitment. I had to be down in St. George for several days. And so I thought, well, I'll leave this in my office. And a couple of our secretaries, I mixed up some Bigfoot, and I said, hey, just water this for me.
Yeah, water them with this.
So I came back, and the entire wing where my office is has this rose aroma. They were like, hey, you just need to leave that there all summer long.
So we can just enjoy it. Yeah,
it has blossomed out, and it's amazing. Just the week that we've had that, and watering it about every 3 days with some Bigfoot, because we're going to drop it into the ground either tonight or tomorrow.
It's going to go, yeah. Hopefully your wife's not listening to the show this morning.
No,
so
I made sure that she's still getting ready to go out this morning. So
all right, awesome.
And my daughter's kept a good secret too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's good.
But they do. They just smell so good.
Yeah. And there's more that have more scent than others, and it's nice when you get one that's like really strong scented, and it makes the yard smell amazing. So a lot of great things happening at Anderson's for Mother's Day. We've got great gift ideas, gift cards. If you just can't decide what to do, I had probably 10 people yesterday I helped with gift cards. They're just like, my mom's a gardener, but I can't. Too many choices.
Don't know what to do.
I can't decide here. Let's just get a gift card. She'll be super happy, and away we go. So, and I even have people that were buying 2-gallon jugs of compost tea for their mothers as well too yesterday, because the compost tea is brewing, and it is amazing for your plants. So if you're not familiar with our compost tea program, we brew compost tea 24/7. It's a kind of a proprietary blend that we do that I don't know anybody else that does the blend, and our plants just go crazy with it. And you buy those 2.5 gallon or 1 gallon jugs, and we fill them up. You go home, you use it on your plants. You can bring it back and get free refills throughout the summertime. Yeah, so it's our free refill program with our compost tea, and it is brewing like crazy. My spare tank this year, though, our one tank had some problems with the legs, and so it wasn't holding the weight of the 75-gallon tank. Wasn't holding the weight. The legs had kind of warped a little bit, so we were afraid. So we took that one out. I got another one coming, and it was supposed to come on a pallet this week, and the pallet showed up with a bunch of other product and no tank on it. Yeah, no tank on it. And so I called the company. I said, hey, we got all of our product, but there's no tank on there. And he's like, well, it was on the pallet when I put it on the truck. He's like, I put it on the truck myself. This is the president of the company. He's like, I put it on the truck myself, and I'll find out where it's at. And apparently it had rolled off the pallet somehow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they had it all shrink wrapped and everything. I don't know what happened to it. It was in Illinois.
And somehow between here and there.
It got lost out there. So we're hoping it shows up on Monday. So I'm down one tank, but I do have one 75-gallon tank and one 275-gallon tank brewing right now. So so I know we'll be able to get everybody covered.
At least for
today,
this weekend.
Yeah, for today, for the compost tea. But yeah, callers. Are we gonna get some callers?
We do. We've got Kathy who has joined us on the line, and we can take more calls at 753-KVNU. That's 753-5868. And Kathy, welcome to the show. Thanks for holding.
Thank you so much. My roses didn't do well with that last frost. Do I need to trim them back to the ground? What do I do with them?
You could trim a little bit more if you needed to. And did they get frozen? They just get dipped? Yeah. They'll put all new growth out. But last week we talked about this on trees and shrubs, and I don't think we talked about roses as well too. But even if you've got a little bit of frost damage, and we've seen frost damage on roses and Japanese maples and sycamores and ginkgos, believe it or not, and walnuts and even honey locusts. We had honey locusts that got hit really, really bad, and cherries. Use boomerang on them. The boomerang is formulated to help plants recover faster with some damage or disease or stress, and it will get your plants to perk up, and it will encourage some nice new growth to come out. So I'd say for the next 2 or 3 waterings, water it with boomerang or kangaroos. If you've got the kangaroos, it's very similar to the boomerang, but the boomerang's got a little bit more nitrogen in it that will encourage some new growth to come out. And your roses should be fine. Maybe trim just a little bit, but it shouldn't have damaged the canes at all. That's the critical part, is we don't want to damage the canes. If you have a few leaves that got damaged, it'll replace all those leaves. It'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Yep. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Happy Mother's Day, Kathy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for calling this morning.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Phone lines are open, 753-KVNU, 753-5868. You know, I was down in St. George, and we were at a radio conference, and I actually brought up the Garden Guide show that we do.
Yeah.
And a couple other people who are from Utah.
Yeah.
They said, well, what's a good solution? I've got tree damage. I've lost all the leaves on my oaks. And I said, well, let me just share with you what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. That boomerang is great. It's for trees. It's amazing.
It's amazing. I've had multiple people in the last 10 days that we've shared the boomerang with, and they've come back and said, oh, wow, my stuff's all leafing out. Thank you so much. It's like they're looking so much better than they did 2 weeks ago when they got frozen. So that's great. I love it that you're sharing information at the conference. It's like you've learned so much over the years, Will. So it's almost like, on Saturday, if you're bored, you should just come work at the store. I could just sit you right by the Bigfoot, and you'd do awesome.
Exactly. And here's the thing is that one individual told me, he goes, I was just going to cut the tree down. I thought I had lost it. And I'm like, no,
leave it alone.
You got to give it a chance. Give it a chance to come back. A lot of them. Our peach tree, our apricot tree was in the same position, and it looked like it just completely had wiped it out.
Yeah.
And just a couple applications, boomerang. Of course, I love the Bigfoot too, and I use that as well.
Yep, it really helps.
It just really helps those trees just to come back real quick.
The key with the Bigfoot and the boomerang and even the kangaroos is it really focuses on getting the roots and the soil as healthy as possible. So when your soil is really healthy, your root system expands and it takes off. And the more root system you've got, the more ability the plant has to pick up water, to pick up nutrient, and get the things that it needs out of the soil, which is now really healthy. So the soil's working in favor of the plants instead of working against the plants, which sometimes our soils here kind of work against the plants, with the clay. But now that we've created this healthy environment, and the compost tea does the same thing too. So it puts all that good biology back into the soil, all the beneficial microbes and microorganisms that make all these things happen. We're putting that back into the soil. And then once that root system really takes off and it starts to build, thousands of little fine root hairs, which is what the Bigfoot and the boomerang will do to your plants. Then all of a sudden it's picking up this extra water, this extra nutrient. So it has more strength to put out new growth, to put out more flowers, to put out more fruit, whatever it is that we're trying to get from our plants. So, yeah. I had a couple in yesterday. They had used the Bigfoot last year for the first time, and they're like, I can't remember what it is, but it was in a little black package, and when I scooped it out, it was black. It looked like, ground up coal, and I was like, we're talking about the Bigfoot, and they're like, yes, that's the stuff that we want. He's like, my potatoes double. Yeah. He's like, double the production, and they were bigger. Yeah. And so he was just like, I got to do that again because that stuff was like unreal on my potatoes. And I said, I know. It's like I did on my potatoes, and they went crazy. Had the best carrots I've ever had. And he was sold on the Bigfoot with just one season of using it on just his potatoes. Mm-hmm. Then I taught him that he could put it on his tomatoes and his peppers and his squashes and his melons and cucumbers and stuff. He's like, really? And I was like, oh yeah. It's like, they'll love it. The only thing that the Bigfoot doesn't work on is it doesn't work on beets. So beets, it won't do anything for beets. For some reason, the beets don't like to make that connection with the mycorrhiza. Yeah. And it doesn't work on blueberries. And it doesn't work on azaleas or rhododendrons. And there's a couple other plants too, but those are kind of like the key ones. So they just don't make that contract with the mycorrhiza, that beneficial fungus, to go out and create more root system for it. It just decides, no, thanks, I'll pass.
The only problem that you have to keep in mind if you start using the Bigfoot is be prepared for what's going to happen. Because I mentioned last year we had never been able to have any success with growing bell peppers.
Yeah, right.
And so we thought we'll give it one more try. But we always would buy 4 or 5 plants knowing that we would lose at least a few of them.
Right.
So we tried 4 or 5 plants last year, treated it with the Bigfoot. And we had bell peppers forever. It's like every day you'd go out there and it's like,
there's more.
What do you do with them?
I know. It's like
got to the point where they were like the zucchini in the garden.
Can't keep up with them.
Yeah,
they produce like crazy. So those are the stories we love to hear from our customers. They come in and say, I use this product and I've never had such great results. Yeah. It's actually really very satisfying. So it's a good time. Don't forget Mother's Day weekend. Yep. Got to take care of those important moms in your life because there's a lot of great ones out there. A lot of great ones.
Appreciate all they do for us, for sure.
It's really interesting because at the store yesterday, I was helping a lot of different customers, a lot of different people, and every female that came in, I said, hey, happy Mother's Day, and the response that I get is so cute. It's like everybody's just like, oh, thank you. That's just that's so nice. Yeah. So it actually made my day yesterday with the amount of people I was able to visit with, and just to take a second and just say, happy Mother's Day. It's like one family was in, they had like 4 of their kids with them, and I was like, happy Mother's Day. You got 4 kids running around the store. She's like, yeah, I got 2 others in school. It's like, all right, you deserve an extra big Mother's Day. Congratulations as well, too. So make sure and just take that minute today and just thank the people around you for what they do and how important they are in all of our lives.
And, the thing I love about plants from Anderson Seed and Garden, whether it's a hanging basket, which is what my mom really loves, and my mother-in-law, we used to give her a hanging basket for Mother's Day, is that you give those gifts like that, and then they're able to enjoy them all year.
Long. Yeah. It's not just a one-timer.
Yeah.
You get to enjoy it for
And so it's something that if you have a mom that really loves gardening, planting, flowers, and everything else. Yeah. Oh, this is a great time to be able to grab some beautiful flowers. Like I mentioned, we're going to be doing roses this year for my wife.
Yeah.
And give that gift that's going to be remembered.
Yeah. And we're sharing with a lot of people who are going out the door with hanging baskets, our hanging basket recipe to keep them looking really, really, really good as well, too. And so don't forget, those baskets need to be fed consistently. And so we recommend at least twice a week. So we're doing different fertilizers a couple times a week so that they're getting a higher nitrogen so that they'll continue to cascade and spread, but a higher phosphorus a different time during the week to really encourage flower production, really get them producing. And then we use the compost tea on them at least once every 2 weeks, and sometimes even a little bit more frequently when it's really hot out to keep that soil really healthy. And then a water holding product like Easy Wet to make sure that every time you water, it hydrates the soil completely and saturates that soil so that you don't have dry baskets, even though you thought you watered it this morning, but the water just kind of ran out the bottom instead of hydrating the soil up.
Went around the sides.
Yeah. So the Easy Wet is really the critical key component to the fertilizers to make sure that every time you water, that basket gets hydrated. And we do the same thing for our planters. So the planters on Center Street and our planters at home, we do the same formula on all of those to really give them the food that they need, allow them to hydrate when they do get watered, and it just makes the plants really, really healthy and take off. And, of course, we're using the Bigfoot on them, too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about Mother's Day gifts coming up after the bottom of the hour break, plus also weeds. What can you do to get rid of them? They are taking over your lawn. So more to talk about, and we can take your calls next here on The Garden Guide on KVNU. I'm Will Feelwright with your local headlines here at the bottom of the hour. Well, Utah Governor Spencer Cox is reassuring residents about the massive Stratus data center that has been approved for rural Box Elder County. Now, following public pushback over environmental impacts, the governor says that the state will closely monitor the project to ensure accountability. Now, the governor explained that development will occur in phases. The first phase limits the data center's footprint to 2,000 acres and its power capacity to 1.5 gigawatts. Now, future expansions would require separate approvals based on the developer meeting strict metrics. Now, to protect local resources, the governor directed the Utah Department of Environmental Quality to review air permits and ensure federal compliance. He also ordered the Department of Natural Resources to verify the facility's cooling technology will not harm the Great Salt Lake. In other news, Utah's push to expand career-connected learning is taking a major step forward, backed by a more than $1 million newly awarded state grant. Now, leading the charge is the Cache County School District, which secured $15.2 million to build a career-focused campus in northern Utah. Now, the new regional hub is expected to serve up to 900 students, connecting multiple school districts with Utah State University, Bridgerland Technical College, and also local businesses. Now, state education officials say the APEX initiative will give high school students hands-on project-based learning in high-demand fields like healthcare, information technology, and aviation mechanics. Well, clear skies continuing through the weekend with hot temperatures coming next week as we're going to be into the high 80s to low 90s by Monday and Tuesday. And I'm Will Feelwright with your KVNU local headlines.
Good morning. This is Chris Lewis. Philadelphia was in a New York state of mind. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinal matchup. The Knicks blitzed the Sixers in the second half.
Brunson works from the left wing. Paul George waiting for him at the three-point line. Now switching defense, Oubre on him. Feeds Karl Anthony Towns against George. Up top, Brunson squares on a long three and connects. Jalen Brunson with the long triple.
Boy, long is the correct word, Kesty. He was almost at the red 7 in his 76er logo.
27 for Brunson, 9-point Knickerbocker lead. The call on ESPN Radio, the Knicks beat the Sixers 108-94 in Game 3, take a 3-0 series lead, 1 game away from the Eastern Conference Final. Jalen Brunson, 33 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. No team in NBA history has overcome the 3-0 deficit. Meanwhile, out west, Victor Wembanyama playoff performance might have been his best.
Wembanyama, he'll walk it up himself here. Back to the three-point line. Victor bouncing it over to Vassell. Right side, shot clock at 10. Back to Wemby, rising for 3. Wee-wee! Victor Wembanyama, 3 more. 37 is a new playoff high.
That on WOAI. Spurs 115, Timberwolves 108. San Antonio gets the road win to go up in the series 2-1. Victor, 39 points, 15 boards, 5 blocks. Fourth player since blocks became official in 74 with a 35, 15, and 5 playoff game. In the NHL, Canadians beat the Sabres 5-1. And the Golden Knights topped the Ducks 6-2. Noteworthy first day of the WNBA regular season. Liberty winners over the Sun. Mystics beat the Tempo. And Valkyries knock off the Storm.
The expert with a green thumb. It's the Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Welcome back to the show. As it's 8:35 on this Saturday morning, we'll feel right along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden on this Mother's Day weekend. We were talking about the perfect gifts for mom at Anderson Seed and Garden. Roses are in bloom. The perennials have come in. You've got a beautiful selection of hanging baskets. So if you're looking for that last-minute gift idea for mom for Mother's Day, Anderson Seed and Garden, the place to be today.
We've got shady baskets as well as full sunny baskets. So there's some that, like, if you got a shady spot on your front porch, you want a nice basket, it can handle like full shade all the time, as well as those that can handle full sun all the time.
Okay.
And so we've got a really broad selection of sun and shade loving hanging baskets, and tons of different color combinations. They look really, really good right now. So we're excited about that. And oodles of perennials came this week. So it was like our biggest shipment of perennials so far this year. Took us a full day just to organize.
Just to get them
just
all
to organize
unloaded.
those. Yeah. And then the greenhouses are loaded. So the vegetable greenhouse, absolutely full. The flower greenhouse, absolutely full. And we've got more that spilled out all over the place. And like I mentioned earlier, the west greenhouse where the fountains are, it just looks amazing with all the color and plants and stuff in there. And then you get to hear the fountains running as well too. So it's a great environment to come and just feel spring today. And the weather's great, so we should be outside planting. So if you have not got your early crops planted, you definitely want to get all your cold crops in, because as it gets warmer, they're gonna struggle a little bit more. So get those all planted. And then we've got many gardeners that are planting tender stuff. So cucumbers, squashes, melons, tomatoes, peppers, they're starting to plant those as well too. Just be aware, we could still get frost. Our average last frost in Cache Valley is the 20th of May. So that's 11 days away.
Yeah.
So the 10-day forecast doesn't quite get us there, but end of this month, just kind of watch for frost. Be prepared. Get your frost cloth. Get some hot caps. It won't be a hard frost like the last one that we had in April that killed everybody's leaves on their trees. Yeah, that was down into the teens cold, and we usually don't have that happen. In fact, it damaged a bunch of my onions. Like it really? Froze the tops of my onions. Yeah, I had put them out maybe 10 days, 2 weeks earlier, and they were just really starting to go. And it got cold enough that it damaged the tops of the onions. Most of them are coming back, but I've got a couple that did not. And my peas, great. Peas, no problem. Spinach, no problem. But it definitely nipped the tops of the onions. Okay. So that was some really cold weather. However, if we get a frost towards the end of this month, it will be a light frost. It'll be just like 32, 31, 30, and that's when the shade cloth and the hot caps work great. And if you really want to protect your plants, make sure you put your tomatoes or your peppers out and put walls of water on them. Yeah, because the walls of water will give you almost 12 degrees of added protection. So they will definitely protect your plants from a light frost, and they will encourage some more growth, which is what I like to do. When I get mine planted, I put aquadomes or walls of water on my plants to encourage some early growth, and it really, really helps get them going a lot faster. And then, like I mentioned at the top of the show, I like to put weed barrier down to really generate some heat in the soil, and that helps a lot too, because the warmer your soil is, the faster they will get established and the faster they're going to start to produce. So if you really want to get tomatoes early this year, put your weed barrier down now, let it heat the soil up for the next week or 10 days or 2 weeks even, and then plant your plants. Put hot caps or walls of water, aquadomes on them, and leave them on until they grow out the top. And I can almost guarantee you'll get tomatoes by the middle of July.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just accelerates their growth and their production, especially if you're using the Bigfoot on them.
I was going to say.
Or the
yeah.
kangaroo roots, kangaroo
Great way to
roots,
get it established.
Bigfoot, and then I am using the fungicide 5 on all my tomatoes, all my potatoes, any of the plants that really get diseases, because it will fight those diseases off in the soil as well too. So a great combination of using like the compost tea or the Bigfoot or the kangaroo roots with that fungicide 5 to really, really get your plants off on the right foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go back out to the phone lines as we're taking your calls here on the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. And Janet is joining us on the line from Franklin. Janet, welcome to the show.
Hi. I have another frost question.
You bet.
My irises, I've never had irises freeze before, and I didn't realize that I had flowers or spikes coming up because they were, just barely coming up. So now they've actually kind of grown taller, but they're brown. They're like papery and brown and just dead. So I didn't know what's the best thing. I assume just cut them off and just wait till next year. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen.
Yep. And very unusual damage this year that we don't see very often, but it's not unheard of, but it did hit a lot of plants. It seemed like it didn't bother the peonies. Like all my peonies are like looking great, and they had flower buds on them.
Fine.
Yeah, we had flower buds on them. I was like afraid it was going to damage those, but I haven't seen anybody with iris. So that's a bummer that it damaged those. I'd probably leave them and see what happens. Of course, I'd have to see how brown they are, but if they're totally like the buds are dead, trim those off because they could kick some more flowers out.
Okay, that's kind of what I was wondering. I didn't know too. I'm in some groups like Utah growing area groups online,
right.
And they all said cover your irises, and I'm like, my irises have never frozen. What are you talking about? And so,
but this year,
I was like, what is? Would just covering it do anything?
It would have given them a little bit of extra protection. And so what's unusual is, we've seen trees that all the leaves on the trees got frozen because they were just these tender new little leaves that have come out. But some of the branches that stuck underneath, another tree or a carport or something, they were intact. They were fine. And so the frost didn't hit them as hard. So a little bit of cover could have possibly gotten them through. But I'm just like you. I've never seen the flowers like freeze on the iris before, but normally they're not blooming until the end of May. So it was odd that they were blooming that early this year as well too.
Right. And I do have some that are blooming.
Yeah.
But next to them are ones that definitely won't.
Got frozen, yeah. So trim those off. If they look like they're not going to do anything, trim those off, and it could send up more flowers as well too. So it's interesting how Mother Nature has a lot of built-in backup systems to kind of help with this type of damage that does happen from time to time. And so even though trees' leaves got frozen, they're going to put out more leaves. So don't cut your tree down. It's still alive. Yeah. Same thing with shrubs. Same things with some of these flowering plants that if the flowers got damaged before they even opened up, the plant still has more strength. It might kick more out. So.
Thank you. Okay. Well, it's amazing to me how nature didn't decide to have that happen with the weeds.
Yes, yeah.
Fine.
They seem to be very resilient, don't they?
Yeah.
But anyways, all right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Janet. Have a very happy Mother's Day. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
And that clears up a phone line at 753-5868, 753-KVNU, as we have Christine now on the line from Smithfield. Welcome to the show, Christine. Thanks for holding.
Hi, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good. I forgot to ask you yesterday when I was in there, My raspberries are yellow. Do I just need to give them some iron?
Iron, yeah. We've actually seen a lot of iron chlorosis already this year, even though it's kind of early. It usually doesn't start showing up until like June, but we're seeing it already in some plants. So definitely a chelated iron, and should see them greening up in 2 weeks or so. So yeah, I would do that. I'd do that right away. Make sure water it in so they can pick it up through the root system.
So you've already started your that stuff you get out of your big things. You've already started
the compost tea. Yep, the compost tea is ready to go, and we've been brewing for 2 weeks. So you are welcome to come in and start partaking.
Okay. All right. I love that stuff.
It really is amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
great
yeah.
for
I
raspberries.
couldn't believe Oh, yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. More things to do.
Yep. Christine, thank you so much for calling. Happy Mother's Day, and good luck with your plants.
Thank you very much.
You're
Have
welcome.
a great day.
You too. Thank you. All
Bye.
right.
And let's go back out to the phone line as we have Todd, who's joining us on the line from Millville. Todd, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I just had a quick question. If with using the Easy Wet on my hanging baskets,
right?
Can I use that with like a fertilizer application at the same time, or does it negate that?
Absolutely. So you can definitely use it right in with your fertilizer. So that's what we'll do. Like if it's like we like to fertilize on Tuesdays and Fridays. We just schedule it that way so we just don't forget. So every Tuesday, every Friday we're like fertilizing. When it's time for an Easy Wet, we'll just mix it right in with the fertilizer so we don't have to do an extra application. We'll just do it all at once, and that works great. And it could go in with the compost tea as well too. So that would be that would be very acceptable as well too. It's all natural, so it won't bother your compost tea either. So should work great.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and good luck with your plants, Todd.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Anytime.
Phone lines open at 753 KVNU. That's 753-5868. If you have a question, comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, as we've been talking about plants and the boomerang, Bigfoot, and some of the other ways to help these plants grow. Janet brought up the good point, and Christine mentioned it as well. Seems like Mother Nature just did not take out the weeds.
Oh, the weeds, yeah.
And chances are, if your yard's like ours, clover and dandelions and morning glory,
yes.
they just seem to be thriving.
I had a gentleman in yesterday, and he was there with his mother and with his wife, and they like had weed infestation like crazy. So I must have spent like 20 minutes with them, walking them through all the different options that they have for this parking area that they want to just like make sure nothing grows there. But here's the flower bed section. We've got like tons of weeds in there. How do we prevent new ones from coming up? And on my lawn, how do we do that? So we just kind of went through the whole gamut of weed control. And there really are a lot of great options out there. So if you're dealing with weeds in your lawn, and we can control those weeds, especially with the weather being the way it is right now, this is perfect time. 70s and 80s is when your weed killer is going to be the most effective at stopping and killing weeds that are out there. So this is a perfect time to go ahead and do that. And morning glory and thistles and mallow and clover and dandelions, all the hard to kill weeds. Weed free zone is still our go-to for weeds in the turf. If you want to spray your garden and get a good, clean, fresh start, Decimate from Fertilome is hands down my go-to for that, because it biodegrades so quickly out of the soil. So you can spray it, watch the weeds die within 24 to 48 hours, till it up and plant right back in there 24 hours after you've sprayed. And that herbicide has biodegraded out of the soil, so you don't have to worry about it damaging new plants that you're putting back in there. But it's still going to be super effective at killing weeds and grasses, and even the hardest to kill weeds. I mean that Decimate takes out morning glory, it takes out puncture vine, goat heads. Those are some of the hardest weeds to get rid of, and it does just an amazing job. So, yeah.
And gets down into the roots.
It does.
Because that's the thing that drives me crazy is I'll go through and I'll pick out that morning glory.
Yeah.
And then a week later, it's all back again.
There's so many herbicides out there that are new that do not have that systemic activity to them. They just burn the tops off, and it doesn't go down in through the root system. And so the Decimate does a really great job. The Weed Free Zone, they're all systemic, so they go down in and kill that root system out, so you don't have the same weed just coming right back. Right back.
Yeah.
And then there's some really good options to prevent weeds from coming up later on. We can talk about those after we take our phone call. So.
Well, Vicky's joining us on the line from Smithfield. And Vicky, welcome to the show. As I understand you're wanting to know about boomerang.
Yeah, I was wondering how many times do you pour the boomerang on the trees?
So usually 2 or 3 applications spread out about a week apart would be sensational if you can do that. So once will really, really help, but try and do it once a week for a couple weeks. And what it will do is it will just increase the root mass on your plants. So it will encourage lots of new fine root hairs on your plants. And those are the root hairs that pick up the water and nutrient. Then they take it to the bigger roots, which transports it to the rest of the tree or shrub or flower, or whatever it is that you use it on. But increasing that fine root hair mass is what allows the trees or shrubs, or whatever plant, to pick up that water, pick up that nutrient, and really help the plant recover. So once a week for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, thanks for calling this morning, Vicky.
Day.
Yeah, and happy Mother's Day.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And, it's also a good time, too, if you mix a little fertilizer in with that. And that you're actually fertilizing and stimulating that root growth at the same time, giving those new roots some food to be able to just take off.
To go with it. And I have a fertilizer that I prefer to mix in with the kangaroos or the boomerang, and it is from Seedlingers, and it's called Mix and Feed. It used to be called Fertilixer. So the Fertilixer was one of our favorite products. And what it has in it is it has soy proteins in it, and the soy proteins are a natural source of nitrogen, but it also feeds all the beneficial microbes and microorganisms, and so it makes them work better.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And so it really enhances your activity out of those microbes and microorganisms because it has the food that they need in it to really get them going. And so we like to take that boomerang, we like to take that kangaroos, and I will mix the Seedlingers fertilizer right in with it, and it just synergizes, and it makes it work even better. And it's very mild, too, so you can mix them both at full strength and mix them together and still not damage the plants.
Okay.
Usually we'll recommend you go half and half on those, but if you needed to, you could go a little stronger because it's mild enough that it just won't burn your plants. But that Fertilixer or the Mix and Feed from Seedlingers, it has molasses in it. It has the soy proteins. It's got calcium nitrate in there. So it has a nice balance of natural fertilizers that will really enhance the activity of your microbial product, which is like the boomerang or the kangaroos or even the Bigfoot. It just feeds all those microbes and makes them go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So great chance to be able to not only stimulate the root growth, but also give the plants some fertilizer.
Yep.
Because, really, if you look at it, the plants right now that have been hit hardest, what they're needing is just some nutrients to get them going again.
Yep, you got it. So makes a big difference. And the Seedlingers Fertilixer or the Seedlingers Mix and Feed, that is our go-to for a great fertilizer to enhance some of these other products.
All right. Well, we have just a few more minutes. Time we could probably take 1 or 2 more calls. 753-KVNU, 753-5868 if you have a question or comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. We briefly talked about it earlier, Mark, but we ought to double back as we look at the forecast for the next couple of days. We're going to get into the 90s by Tuesday, and with us hitting all of a sudden the 90s after just this past week when we were in the 50s and 60s, of course, that can also cause some shock on plants and trees and our yard. And so it is definitely time to start incorporating some watering into your yard.
So for every half inch to an inch of rainwater that we get, your plants can go about a week in between waterings.
Okay.
And so with cooler temperatures, when we're in the 60s and 70s, that'll last sometimes even a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. But right now we've been about 4 or 5 days since our last storm. And so we're anticipating probably by Monday or Tuesday, people will feel like, okay, the grass is kind of starting to stress a little bit. We probably should water. And so if you can do a deep water, once a week, or maybe twice a week, if it stays in the 80s, like they're saying for a couple of days, that should be plenty. You won't need to do anymore. So one good watering the first part of the week, get you through that hot part of next week, and then if the temperatures drop down again, one watering will last a week now with cooler temperatures, and so you don't have to immediately shift to summertime watering. Let's eliminate one watering or two waterings a week if you can, and we'll continue to conserve water. But your plants will love it, and they'll be fine.
And we were talking earlier. I know you were texting me as I was coming back from St. George. We did have a pretty good storm on Tuesday.
Yeah,
did bring about a quarter of an inch. Of rain here to the Radio Ranch area, the Logan area. I know out in Richmond, I saw measurements of around a half inch of rain.
Yeah,
so, we have had some pretty good moisture in the last week.
Yeah.
But as temperatures Tuesday start looking at the 90s, that's definitely going to be zapped real fast.
I was out planting kohlrabi in my garden last night, and as I kind of dug my little trench to put them in there, I just went down an inch, and it was moist, like the soil was moist underneath. So when I planted those, I did water them, but the soil was already damp from that storm 4 days ago, on Tuesday. So the soil's holding the moisture really well, and it's absorbing and retaining it as well. So just be aware that yes, we may need to water this week, but you don't need to shift to like summertime watering. Yeah. And then we are highly, highly recommending a water retention product like Back to Green or Hydrotain. And so we've been using those on our turf for the last probably close to a decade, and it stretches our water 30 to 50% farther than it would normally. And by applying like Back to Green right now, it will green up your lawn, make it look amazing. And every time you water, your water is going to last 30 to 50% longer. And same thing with the Hydrotain. You'll get 30 to 50% extension on whether it's Mother Nature that's watering or whether it's you, and you won't have to water as much. So they are amazing products. They last for 60 to 90 days. So you apply Hydrotain right now, it's going to last until August. And it will get you through a lot of that hot, dry part of the summer. So an application of Back to Green right now, it lasts 60 days. You do another one 1st of July. It'll last the entire summer for you. And it really does stretch your watering that much farther. We've used it enough over the last 10 years to recognize that we can absolutely get 30% to 40% more length between waterings than we
by
have
using the Hydrotain.
Yeah. So instead of watering on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, we can eliminate one of those waterings. Even when it's 100 degrees outside, we'll just do Tuesdays and Fridays and stretch that application out a little bit farther, so you can eliminate one whole watering per week and still keep your lawn and your landscape looking as good as it did before.
Okay.
Yeah. So it does make that much of a difference. The Hydrotain comes in a liquid as well as in a granule, and so it's very easy to apply. The Back to Green is a granule, but it really goes the farthest for your money. So it's about $30 for a bag. It will cover 10,000 square feet, and it lasts for 2 months. And so, it'll pay for itself in the first couple weeks of watering, how much water you're saving. It'll just absolutely pay for itself. But then you're conserving, you're able to stretch your water applications a little bit farther out, and it makes your lawn look amazing with that extra iron in it.
Okay.
Yeah, great product. Right. And it's made locally here. It comes just from across the mountain. So it comes out of Layton.
Back to Green.
Yeah, Back to Green.
All right.
Awesome stuff.
Well, we've got just about 30 more seconds, Mark, and just time again to remind everybody, if you're looking for that last-minute Mother's Day
Day weekend, yeah.
Anderson Seed and Garden, it's got a great selection of plants.
Hanging baskets and roses and perennials and annual flowers and planters. We've got a little bit of everything at Anderson's ready for this weekend, and greenhouses are looking amazing, and the nursery looks awesome, and it's a fun place to be this time of year. It can feel like spring. Come in and get your seeds. Get those crops planted so we can have something to eat this summer.
And the compost tea is brewing,
so
brewing. You can come in, bring in those jugs, and be able to fill them up.
Yep, and we got some great gift ideas for moms as well too. Chimes and outdoor decor and gardening hats and different tools, gift cards, anything that would work out for Mother's Day. We've probably got it at Anderson's. So.
And for all the moms out there, we hope you do have a special Mother's Day. As there's just so much we couldn't do it without you. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And if you come in the store, I'll wish you a happy Mother's Day, too.
There you go. Can't beat that. So we hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day, and don't forget, a great time to be able to stop by Anderson Seed and Garden this weekend. Check out the hanging baskets, the perennials, the roses are just gorgeous. Yep. I'm looking forward to planting ours coming up tomorrow, Mark. And
sounds good.
Although I think everybody here in the office is going to be sad when I take that rose.
Maybe I'll bring one back for them for next week.
There you go. So we appreciate everybody joining us on the show and all of the calls. If you missed a part of the show, you want to go back and listen to it, you can always do so by going to kvnutalk.com.